Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 708 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Dustin Taylor. If you want to hear our perspective on how to make America healthy again, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. It's number 708, and I got Dustin Taylor on with me today. We're going to get topic rich today. We're going to talk about him being a second-generation chiropractor, what it means to mentor other chiropractors, marketing, efficiency of marketing and ROI, sales. We might quote BJ Palmer at least once. And we're going to talk about how you determine who your ideal patient is, which I think is really important to understand avatar and build out of who you want to attract as a practitioner. And then we're going to jump all into this MAHA movement with Make America Healthy Again, and some of the political things that are shifting in our lives as we speak today. I'm going to let you know our big why, and then we'll get into Dustin's story about how he got into chiropractic because he's born into it. But why we do what we do over here is freedom of speech. I know that's a big segment of why Dustin's doing what he's doing today, but I've been speaking this from the rooftops and on top of the mountains for so many years now that freedom of speech is so important as a society for medical freedom and family health freedom. We know what it's like to be shadow banned and traffic throttled and censored. We'd never do that to you. So we want chiropractors to talk about the brilliance of this beautiful profession. And if you need help or guidance with your family, go find a chiropractor in your neighborhood or city. They're going to give you the information and the mentorship that you need to make good informed decisions for you and your family. As we get more philosophical into this opener, we do protect the sacred trust. If you do not know what that means, go to our show notes and click on that. It's BJ Palmer's last written words, and there is some significance there. You're going to learn more about chiropractic than you did before, I guarantee you. If you know chiropractors that are just new grads, been out for 0 to 5 years, share the show with them. If they're students, share the show with them because they're not getting chiropractic philosophy in their colleges, unfortunately, anymore. They're watering it down and they're removing it. And if we remove the language from something, we remove the profession. And we won't allow that to happen, at least not on my watch. So we do believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. We also believe in innate intelligence and universal intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. Sounds woo-woo, but it's real. And that creates educated intelligence. And this is episode 708 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Dustin Taylor, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, we were really hitting it heavy before we hit the go live button. But you didn't answer many of the questions I proposed to you, which I'm really happy for. You just kind of let me structure it out for us. But coming into this world, second generation chiropractor, what was it like growing up with that chiropractic lifestyle as a kid?
You know, such an honor to be blessed that way. I believe that God has a plan, and that was his plan for me, is to grow up different. And, when you're young like that and you do finally recognize that you're different, I'll never forget being over at a friend's house in the neighborhood, probably 6, 7 years old, and somebody had a headache and they went to a medicine cabinet. I was like, what is that? When I had a headache, if I ever did, it was like everything that was wrong with us. It was like, Dad, I need to get adjusted. So knowing then that I was different at a young age and then trying to find out why And then my dad being there to answer all those questions for me was huge. So I got a great start. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I mean, even today, I can see in the messaging that you release that you had innate, like, as a baby, like I mean, I can tell, like, I don't know you too well, but I see the content that you create and the impact that it has with the messaging behind it. And I think it's really powerful that you understood from a young age what it was like to have innate intelligence. That's something that most people don't get born into. So it's really cool to see that you're still with that same pathway to teach more people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The only thing I could say, yes, it is in the roots, and it's deep. So my dad was one of three. Both of his brothers are chiropractors. I have two brothers that are chiropractors. So it's in the blood, man. It's in the blood. And I will say that, like, after meeting some mentors, to get that out of me, rather than just to hold it in, because it's easy to be born with it and to go through chiropractic school and to know what you know, but to pull out that story and be unique and be different and be polarizing, not for the sake of being polarizing, but being polarizing for the sake of, more people need to grow up like I did. That's just, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, I guess this brings up a big curiosity moment for me is, when did you decide that you're going to become a chiropractor also, like your dad and your uncles?
My dad did a good job of never pushing me or enticing me into the profession. I think in his wisdom, he let me make my own decision. And I was actually in college and doing my undergrad, and I just found myself gravitating to sciences and it was just, I went to a small private university, and within 2 years, I was like, I'm going to chiropractic school. I mean, it was just being led and allowing yourself to be led rather than just having a firm choice. And I think I've lived my life that way, and just letting God guide me. That's just, looking back, hindsight is 20/20 there. So that's the best way I can answer that.
Well, I just look at becoming somebody today in 2025. Like, we have to be willing to speak up, but we can't do it from a place of manipulation or anger. And we have to have, like, a positive ethical approach to it.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's the messaging that I pick up from every time I see something that you post. I'm like, wow, this guy, he's not being pushy. He's very firm, but not angry. But I see that you want people to take action and to make the most of their time when they have this window of opportunity with the Make America Healthy Again movement. Yeah. I know that's like our sixth topic on the line, but we might as well just jump right into it and talk about the opportunity that we have at our hands right now.
Okay. And I want to talk about that because I want to talk about where that personality comes from. And I think there's a lot of people that resonate with it. And I'm going to tell you my three mentors, because that was something I know you put on the list to talk about. Is when I look at it, my dad is number one. So I draw that ability to relate to people and being nice and not being angry. And then Deed Harrison, a huge mentor of mine, the science. Nobody has done more for the profession as far as from the scientific point of view than Deed Harrison, in my opinion. And if you have somebody that's done more, I'd love to know who they are because I want to know them. And then the other side of that is Billy D. So if you can take Billy D, who is on a mission and always has been to get the chiropractic message out, I think of myself as a little bit of a mixture of my dad, of Deed, and of Billy D. And like I said, I don't know how that happened, but that's just that's the best way to describe myself.
Well, it's like musical taste. We all find different things that make sense to us and what type of music makes us feel inspired. And I mean, gosh, you take a guy like Billy DeMoss, one of the greatest influencers of all time for chiropractic, in my opinion. Like, he's always been relentless about sharing the truth and getting people from outside of chiropractic, also the chiropractor, but people outside of chiropractic to speak very proudly about this profession and to support the profession from outside in. And guys like, I just, my first interview today, the guy was like, Corey Neal was like, hey man, I heard that you studied like CBP stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I worked in a clinic for 6 years. Like my first introduction to chiropractic was I had to watch every video that Deed Harrison made. I had to watch every video that Don Harrison made. I had to understand that bit of communication about how the body we can change the dynamics of the curves of the spine, changing the future of people's lives. Mm-hmm. So when you say that your significant like influencers were your dad, who I haven't met, but I have met Billy D a handful of times and Deed a handful of times. And I think you have a great nucleus of people that you've shared from and become who you are today. So I think everybody out there should start taking notes, go research it all.
Get a little background on my dad, and that's all I'm going to say about him, because he's a pretty humble guy. But he, not too long ago, just a few years ago, he served as the chairman of the board of the ICA. So that's enough said, right?
Yeah, and that's just it. Is this profession is so profound, and it's not from a point that I'm making this comment of like people are depressed, but if you don't know what to do, go serve more.
Exactly.
Or if you don't know where your career is or where it's going, go out there and serve more. It will eventually come clear to you why you're doing what you're doing and what you can do to best influence more people with your enthusiasm and why you do it. Let's just talk to like the students a little bit. Maybe talk to like the call to action at the beginning of the interview. People have been out 0 to 5 years. Mentoring chiropractors. Why is that of interest to you?
I think I thought, because my dad was a chiropractor, I thought going through chiropractic school that I already had my life planned out. I was going to be just like him, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But God had a different plan for me. He put Deed Harrison in my path. I followed Billy D a lot. Fred DiDomenico was another mentor. Roberto Monaco was another mentor. So I guess my advice to the chiropractic student was don't think that you have it all figured out. And if you're cool with that, like if you're good with that, be okay with finding mentors that resonate with you, the art, the science, the philosophy, whether it's the business aspect of it. But one piece of advice that I'll never forget was, and I learned a little bit later than I wish I had, is don't be afraid to fail. Because failure is not what people think it is. They think it's a place where you go and things are over. Failure is, there's really no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. And if you can look at failure as feedback, then you're going to get back up, dust yourself off, and learn that lesson that life taught you, God taught you, and then you're going to go about being better because of it.
Well, I guess that's really important to have the mindset. Now let's talk practicality.
Okay.
So many times a chiropractor comes out of school and they don't have like a significant like group of people that they want to take care of, or they don't know how to get people in the doors. Let's boil those two topics down a little bit. Like, how can people find their avatar client, and how can people grow a practice?
Okay. So I look at that no different than I would look at, where are you going to practice? Where do you want to be geographically? There are some, especially females, that get out of school and they want to serve a pregnancy, new mom kind of thing. And that's awesome. And so your ideal client is going to be the person that you dream of serving. And then I think we all, as chiropractors, we're such a catch-all kind of profession there. We're going to get the stragglers or whatever. And then we're also going to get those people that, just don't resonate with us. And this is just me, and it's nothing personal, but like, I'm the opposite of the joint, and I know the joint serves its purpose or whatever, but like, if somebody wants to come here in a one-stop shop and get an adjustment, that's just not what I love doing. And I think it comes down to that word is what do you love, and how do you love to serve? Because we're all, the hands and feet of serving and healing. And I think we all find our passion or our best way, or our own brand of chiropractic genius that we want to just put out into the world. And that's huge. And if you can figure that out, your marketing message is going to follow that as well. So it's just going to be simple.
So let's talk about marketing.
Mhm.
Somebody's coming right out of college. What advice do you give them?
Somebody's coming right out of college is that you have to do marketing. And if I would, again, I could spend this entire episode praising Roberto Monaco, but you have to find your voice, number one, because you're not going to have a huge budget to do on marketing through social media to get paid ads, but you can go and you can post a lot of stuff, create a following. You can boots on the ground is going to be huge. I have a lot of examples of docs that I've mentored that have been ready to open their doors and have had a patient base already waiting on them. So it's possible. It's just a matter of finding your message, refining it, and then going to tell it. Because if you keep it bottled up, nobody's going to know it and nobody's going to respond to it. That's about as easy as I can tell that.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle. Well, one of my favorite influencers that I've always looked up to was Les Brown. Mm-hmm. And he would always say, you know where the greatest ideas in the world are? Mm-hmm. Then the graveyard. Yeah. Because people that had them never did anything with them.
Exactly.
So if we can urge people through listening to this show to actually do something with their ideas and go out there and make an impact for chiropractic, please do it. Mm-hmm. And marketing, obviously, there's a reason that we want that to happen. It's a sequence.
It's a sequence.
We become who we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
We learn how to craft the message. We disseminate the message to people. Now what happens when people actually say, whoa, I think I want to go try this chiropractic thing. I think that part of the whole equation is called sales.
That's it.
Let's talk about sales a little bit, because some people, they don't know how to understand that chiropractic is a huge component of selling.
Yeah. And this is a shameless plug, but I wrote a book, and this is on Amazon, and I don't make a lot of money on it, Adjusting Your Persuasion. I talk exactly about this in chapter 2. And it really talks about, like, I didn't want to name this book Adjusting Your Sales Process. That sounds pretty boring, because I wanted to be able to persuade. And I look at this like, when you go to give your own definition of what sales is, it could be sleazy. And I know we talked about that. Or persuasion has like this connotation of like, oh my gosh, it's like, it screams like a door-to-door salesman. But if you could just forget about definitions and just create your own and what you want it to be. BJ did this for us, and he said, and we talked about this before we went on too, he said, I will sell chiropractic, I will serve chiropractic, and I will save chiropractic if it takes me 20 lifetimes to do it. BJ said, I will sell chiropractic. And so what is sales? And sales is basically, if you can look at Tony Robbins, it's a transference of emotions. It's sales can be assisting someone in getting something that they wanted in the first place. And it just so happens that you wanted to take it too. So if you have this powerful gift and your ability to communicate and assist them in getting what they want, and it just so happens that you wanted them to get that too, that's sales. Simple enough.
Well, I think, a lot of the old timers would say, I don't want to be a sleazy car salesman type. Mm-hmm. But what if you were selling Ferraris or Porsches, mm-hmm. or high-end vehicles? Like, not everybody's selling something used and broken.
No.
Like, chiropractic can be a luxury item, and you can sell something that will transform someone's life and give them, as the cliche is, life to their years and years to their life. Like, there is some things to be said about not being subluxated. I honestly believe that if we went around and checked C1 and C2 of everybody in the world, specifically the world leaders, we'd live in a whole different world that we are in today. And it goes back to DJ Palmer's Utopia. Like, if everybody was unsubluxated, think about the work that would get done. Think about the support for others that would happen. Think about the quality of life that would be thriving in this world. And that's really what it comes down to. It's not just selling, but it's creating an environment where people are actually having a great benefit of life. And that's really what chiropractic's been about for me for the whole time I've been working for the past 16 years in the profession. I sat there one night, the darkest night of my life, and I'm like, what am I going to dedicate my skill sets to, journalism and marketing to? And it just came to me. I'm like, I think this thing, chiropractic, has a lot of future, has a lot of potential. And me growing up in Davenport, Iowa, where the profession started, I was a stone's throw from Palmer College my whole life. And I always knew that there was something going on with that college. All these really fit, like, kids, like teenagers, are early 20s, were going to college over in Davenport, Iowa, to become chiropractors. And I was like, what are they doing? And anyways, I started getting care of myself, and I started understanding that there was this big idea that if I got adjusted, I could tell the story. That if I told the story well enough, that somebody else might get adjusted. That if they got adjusted, they might get their kid adjusted. That if their kid got adjusted, their kid might go on to play at a high level of sport and get opportunities to be a professional, and then tell the story about how they became a professional. But I always believed that there was this amazing message behind chiropractic, that if people just understood it a little bit, 10% more, we could move this profession forward. And honestly, telling that story is sales.
And telling that story makes it, like, I had a situation this morning where I'm sitting there doing a report of findings, and the person told me why they needed to buy what I had to offer. It's, your message is right. They want what you have. And then that transaction it's love, it's service. Yeah.
So for you, how many years in practice?
18 and a half. Yeah.
And you said you got your fundamentals from chiropractic biophysics. Is that the type of practice that your dad ran too?
No.
So how did you determine who your ideal patient was going to be?
Well, I'd have to say, like, the third year of being in practice with my father, mainly Thompson and Gonstead, I had a lady that was personal injury, and she asked me, because she had a whiplash, reduced curve, actually kyphotic curve. And she asked me, if that's wrong, then how do we fix it? And I didn't have a good answer. And I couldn't lie to her. And so that was when I called some of my buddies that I went to school with, and I was like, where do I start? Because I need to know. And she didn't get better because I adjusted her. And that was almost, it was like a dark moment, a shameful moment, because I was always a proud chiropractor, proud of what I did, but it was a shameful moment. And then when I put my toe in the water there, everything made sense to me. The first time I went to a seminar, Deed was floored at me just answering all the questions, because I had consumed all those videos that you're talking about before I ever went to my first seminar. And I literally, the first time I talked to him, I almost cried, because I said, like, this is what I meant to do. I found it. And so when I went back home and started serving people at that level, not to say that I wasn't doing anything before, but taking it up that next level and changing spines, man, things just got way easier.
Early on, how did you decide how you're going to practice, like, technique? Like, you said that Thompson and Gonstead were like, how you got out to practice, but how did you determine, like, the technique that was going to help you now go into CBP?
Well, being born into chiropractic, it was just whatever my dad did. That was what chiropractic was to me. That was the boundaries, And so that was why I had my mind made up in chiropractic school. And then when you're exposed to the truth, and not to say that there's nothing wrong with Thompson and Gonstead, but when you're exposed to some level of truth that you cannot refute, and that is so powerful, and the science makes sense, and the results make sense, and everything about it makes sense, there's nothing you can do, in my opinion, except for take that next step forward. And like I said, I dove in head first. So I hope that answers your question.
No, it's great because, me growing up in Davenport, Iowa, I thought all chiropractors came from Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
As I got more integrated into the profession, I'm like, there's more colleges out there that do this.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that, like you said, whatever your dad did was chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever I got care for at Palmer, I thought was chiropractic. I thought everything else was not chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a long time for me to integrate into the profession to realize that there's so many different techniques that chiropractors practice, and that's their art.
That's right.
Like I had no idea that chiropractic was an art form.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a big opener for a lot of people too, is the conversation around chiropractic. It's not just what chiropractors think or what they deliver. It's a natural selection of how they determine how they're going to practice and who they take care of. That's the brilliance about being a practitioner of chiropractic. Is it's not the part, Dr. Dustin, where people are like, you did it different than the other chiropractor. I think the public's perception just needs to be rewired to say that all chiropractors do it different.
Yeah.
And that if you want to build a relationship with somebody that's going to give you guidance and take care of you and your family from first breath to last breath, then go find a chiropractor that practices the art of adjusting that you appreciate.
Exactly. And that's going to be how it goes into marketing. We could segue straight into that. Is if I go tell my message, when you talk about ideal patients, my ideal patients are going to be drawn to me because of that. If you were to go read Acts chapter 2 and Peter's sermon, when you get later into chapter 2, it's not going to say everybody that heard Peter's sermon was repented that day. It said all who heard, the people who were there. It doesn't say everyone repented. It said those who heard and believed repented. It doesn't say everyone. So what I'm trying to get at is we have a message, and what we can learn from that is that, Chris Zano used to always say, you awaken believers. And if we can just awaken the believers in us and who we are and what we do, we're going to always have that avatar. And whoever it is, they're just going to be drawn to us. And it's going to repel the people who don't want that. Whether it's 24 visits or 36 visits that corrects your spine, but you come in here wanting just one visit. I mean, there's other doctors I will refer you to, and that's fine. I'll send you down the road to somebody who resonates that way.
Yeah, I believe that the path that a chiropractor chooses definitely gives them quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
And if a chiropractor chooses a practice style that doesn't give them quality of life, they might not be inspired to do it for a career.
Yep.
And if you choose a style of practice that you want, that you're proud of, then you'll have a long career. If you let anything come in and you take any type of practice and build it, it might not give you the life of your dreams.
Exactly.
And that's marketing to yourself.
It's marketing too. And the same thing happens with marketing is when your message is a billboard ad that says, come in here when you have low back pain and it's $39 for your first visit. You're not going to be proud of that either. And so being proud of your marketing message, if you want to call it marketing message, is being able to speak a language that you resonate with and that you feel proud of. And it comes from your heart. The things that you see day in and day out. And if you could just tell those stories or just be who you are. And I tell people that all the time that want to work with me is like, look, marketing to me is being all of who you are. And then telling people what you do and how you do it a little bit, or like what you're all about. So when you see me post stuff like, I'm not Billy D and I don't try to be, but I try to be my version of Billy D because he's in your face and I'm not as in your face, but he's polarizing and I want to be polarizing and add a little science to it and things like, not to say that he doesn't do that, but if we can all speak a language that comes from our heart, again, that's marketing 101 to me. Without even having a marketing degree. I mean, it's just telling the story.
Well, I think a lot of this breaks down into this next question I have is about the future of chiropractic.
Okay.
And I know that right now we're headed into 4 years of a new administration within America, at least. I know that you've been really tuned into this Make America Healthy Again crusade or movement that is being led by RFK Jr. And how do you see the next 4 years? Let's just talk 4 years instead of 20 years. Where do you see the next 4 years going with the messaging of chiropractic within this movement?
I feel like it could be, and this is what I want to say. My expectations are going to be realistic, but what I think is that this could be the most important 4 years in the 130 years of chiropractic. We've never had advocates before. We've always had to be our own advocates, and we've always had to be stubborn and resilient and heroic, being jailed for being in chiropractic. I mean, I didn't, not my generation, but we know where we've come from. And so we have an opportunity now to not only our voice has been suppressed. It's been, like I said, it's been jailed. And I think it's going to be unleashed. And I think the freedom that we're going to experience and the opportunities that we're going to be able to experience to get our message out and allow it to become more mainstream, that's what we're looking at in the next 4 years. And I think it could, again, be the most important 4 years. And if we're not going to take advantage of this, if people don't see this opportunity and pounce on it, we're going to miss the boat.
Well, I think all stars align with the message, and I think all stars align with the lifestyle. And I've noticed over my 16 years of working at chiropractic that every other medical provider, every pharmacy has stolen the chiropractic messaging and made it their own and never given credit to chiropractic. And I think it's time that we have advocates out there that realize that the foundation and base of chiropractic is the reason why we never got to the point where we got pushed into 100% medical tyranny. Mm-hmm. I believe that the reason that chiropractic and the natural healing world exists the way that it does today in 25 is because chiropractic was the last piece on the chessboard before it became checkmate, game over. Mm-hmm. And I believe that chiropractors stood in their own truth and integrity to never be toppled over and taken over and sold out, even though everybody else wants to steal and secondarily use chiropractic philosophy and messaging. It will never remove a subluxation. No. And that's the part where people have to come back full circle to, is chiropractors check, detect, adjust, and correct vertebral subluxations. Yeah. And if we stay with that messaging and we get that to mainstream, like influencers and mainstream policymakers and advocates for this profession, we have nothing but runway right now. Exactly. And I believe that the future has a lot of people out there that are looking how to get people better faster and not have us be 47th in the world and life expectancy and health grade. Like, I think we have a great opportunity for us to start turning back some of this harm done. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it's happening on our watch. So we have to get better and organized and share a better message and a better story, because that's what it's going to take for people to understand this chiropractic profession better. That's why I've never stopped. Yep. You know, as soon as I dropped episode 1, I'm like, we're going to do 1,000 of these things. Yeah. And, you know, I think that that's what it takes to penetrate a marketplace is consistency, brand awareness, and have subject matter experts on board that are willing to talk about something that they love.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one story I'd like to say on that is, obviously I'm going to reference the Bible here, but in Acts chapter 9, Saul's conversion, Saul was a man who thought he was doing God's will by persecuting Christians. And what he found out later on the road to Damascus was that he was doing the opposite of that. And so what Jesus did is he converted Saul to becoming Paul and being the biggest advocate for Christianity, and wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. So I tell that story to say, if we chiropractors can do that, be more like Jesus and find out where people are spreading the false gospel or the false messages and make them advocates, that's a miracle in itself. And that's something that happens. And I used to struggle with that, but I find that you were asking about a miracle story. Roberto told a beautiful miracle chiropractic story that I've heard a thousand times, and it gives me chill bumps every time he tells it. But one I just recently had was a guy named Jack, and he came in and he just did not believe and did not want to believe, but he came here. And then after 3 weeks of experiencing what chiropractic was, he sent 8 people to me. So he was like that miracle story of taking somebody who reluctantly and as a last resort, after 3 levels fusion in his back, decided, hey, I want to go try this out because I have no other options besides a bullet to the head. And and then the next thing you know, he's that conversion story, and then sends more people. So if we can tell our message in a way to where we can convert, like Jesus did to Saul, and turn those naysayers, those persecutors, whether it's your medical doctor in town, I've got a lot of stories like that, and it just use it, turn it and use it for the good. That's my soapbox for that.
Well, I believe that everybody deserves chiropractic, and most people don't know that they need it. It's like, why would I filter my water? It's fine. Or why would I want food without growth hormone and antibiotics in it? It's fine. But what they don't realize is they are the subject. Mm-hmm. Like if they take care of them, now the life effect makes everybody else's life better. Mm-hmm. And once people don't live subluxated, they can do a lot greater for themselves and those around them because their quality of life. If I've learned anything about the bullshit insurance world, is they base everything on activities of daily living. Mm-hmm. And if we can create activities of daily living through chiropractic, what a miracle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the miracle story for me, is use their thing against them.
Exactly.
Like prove to them what gets people activities of daily living improvements. Yeah. Well, it's chiropractic. Mm-hmm. And if we really wanted to bridge the world with natural health care and chiropractic into the insurance model, they should go all in on chiropractic. Mm-hmm. Because if they really want to increase the activities of daily living and not drug and dope and cut and burn and eliminate crap out of people, chiropractic takes nothing out of you. It just removes the interference. Mm-hmm. When you remove the interference, the body self-regulates and self-heals. There's nothing else on planet Earth that does it.
Nope. Nothing else can do that.
That's a mic drop moment.
Yep.
If people want to work with you, Dr. Dustin, where do we send them to?
Man, I'm simple. I'm really simple. It's chiroinfluence@gmail.com. I like to respond personally to everyone. As of now, I'm not a Chiro Hustle level yet, but I have a small circle of influence. I like to keep it small because I'm still in practice. I have 2 practices, and chiroinfluence@gmail.com. Just say, hey, I want to talk to you about possibility of working with you, and then we'll pick it up from there. It's just easy.
All right, guys, check him out, Dr. Dustin Taylor, chiroinfluence.com or at gmail.com. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to touch on before we call it a day?
Man, no, I think we touched on all of it.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you being on for Chiro Hustle's 708th episode. It's a real honor to get to know you, and I look forward to doing more work with you in the future.
Same. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a fun platform that we create over here at chirohustle.com. If you guys want to learn more about what we do, go over and check us out, chirohustle.com, and send an email over to Dr. Taylor, chiroinfluence@gmail.com, if you want to work with him and be in his small circle. Love and appreciate you, brother. I close out like I always do. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Yep. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.